Hello, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. If someone can let me just quickly know if you can. Thumbs up, even anything, just to know.
Yeah, we
Yep,
can hear you.
brilliant, perfect. Just let me keep admitting a few people. I don't want to keep talking and then realize no one can hear me. What a waste, huh? So I'll just leave it another minute or so, let a few more people in, and then we will get started. Um, and we will get this. I don't know about where you are, but it's wet and miserable here. So it's a good evening to be in, looking at your herb books or drinking your cup of chamomile tea, hopefully. Let me see now. Yeah, we'll just give everyone another minute or so there to kind of arrive in and get themselves settled and grab the last minute cup of tea. We won't keep you long this evening anyhow. Okay, we're kind of on the dot of 7, so we'll get started and I can let anyone else in who comes in. So hello everyone. I hope you're all having a good week and I've had a good month since the last time we talked. Which was calendula. So now we're on to chamomile, which was a box that maybe a lot of you would have started with. So this will be your first kind of hands-on box, and you would have received plantain by now, which we'll be talking about in December. So I guess first off, let me go with any questions about anything. First off, about the boxes, about anything for the newbies or the legacy people who've been here kind of cycling through the last 11, 12 months. Just unmute yourself, shout in, write the question. It doesn't have to be on chamomile at the moment. Kathy, you've unmuted yourself, so go for it.
Hi. I have so many questions.
Go for it.
Thank you, first of all. It was absolutely gorgeous to get. So it was the first time I got the box this or last month. It was beautiful. So I just wondered kind of what's the difference between the tincture and the essence and kind of in what situations you'd use those.
Yeah. So the essence, so start tincture is the medicinal one. So in the likes of the calendula or even the chamomile we're talking about tonight, if you've digestive issues, that's where you're taking that. If you've like stomach upset, like with the calendula, you'd be taking it if you have lymphatic issues or digestion again or headaches and stuff like that. So the tincture is for your medicinal symptoms, just say, or for taking as a tonic bottle. The flower essence are more working with the spiritual side of things. So the essence of the plant, that's what they are. They carry through the characteristics of the plant. So like chamomile is, I like to say chamomile is for big babies and small babies that are whingy and whiny. So do you know the days when we even get ourselves a bit whingy and whiny, or we're going into a situation where you know someone is going to be whingy or whiny, you can just take a few drops of the flower essence and it just helps bring on the kind of essence of the plant. So like when we're talking about even gone into nettles, you're talking about boundary setting, and yarrow is for like wound healing. And so that's how you're kind of using it. So you can use it as meditation, you can use it just daily. I have a load here that I just kind of reach for. I don't even look at the bottle, I just align them all. They're all just here behind me on the shelf, and I just come in here and grab one and see what wants to work with me that day. So this morning I picked brambles, which is for bramble essence. Um, Thoughts for, and I can't even get my thoughts out now. I should take some more of it. It's for tangled, I couldn't think of the word there, tangled thoughts, and how we all get like, webbed in. And it was very apt for what was happening for me over the last week. So I just took a few drops and went throughout my day. So it's like the rescue remedy. Have you heard of rescue remedy?
Yeah, yeah.
Same style as that. And they're super easy to make. I will be doing up sheets on how to make them and stuff like that. And I make all those flower essence myself from all plants around here, that either have been grown in the community gardens or up around my area. So they've been, and I leave them out by like a moonlight, and I do all that kind of thing for them. But yeah, so it's, if you're looking to help heal your inner body, we're going for tinctures. The external spiritual aura, we're going for essences. So does that help?
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that clears it up. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Anyone else got anything they want to ask before we get started on chamomile? No, we're all good. Good. Just let me move this over here so I can see everyone and make sure everyone's in and stuff like that. Perfect. This has been recorded, as I'm sure you're aware, because you probably got the notification, but it's only going to go out to the people on the boxes and the people here. I've yet to announce these calls to the general public. It is my intention to, I just haven't got around to, but they'll only be allowed come in for the live call and then they won't get the recording. So just FYI, you might see a few strange faces. Well, like-minded plant people faces, not strange. Let's not call them strange just yet, because they probably think we're the strange ones. But anyway. So chamomile, so you should have worked with it by now. So a reminder of when you get the jar, which obviously this is empty, with the chamomile in it or the plantain that you got, just pour vodka straight into it. Fill it to the top, pour your vodka, grab your label, fill it out. And this is sticky, so you know the one that's inside of it, take it out, write it. Now, some of the Latin names don't matter, but I just wanted to, because it says herb and then Latin, and what it means by that is just writing the Latin name. And this is where knowing the Latin name of chamomile, the likes of chamomile, is super good to know, because there's two types of chamomile. We can work with either, but we tend to always work with German chamomile. Excuse me, not Roman chamomile. So knowing the difference of if you're ever going to buy it, you know, in a herb shop in somewhere else, knowing the difference. There's only slight kind of medicinal property changes between one or two. They would still both kind of cover the same, but it's just to get your mind kind of open to learning the Latin name. Not learning it to say it, because there's still plenty of Latin names I can't say, and anyone who's been to my classes will know that, but giving it a good stab, you know, or just recognizing it on a label. So yeah, so when you get your jar, you know, have your bottle of vodka, if you haven't drank it over the weekend or partied with it now it's coming up to Christmas, that maybe we may have to hide them a bit more. And plain vodka, like as in just normal, cheap, the cheapest vodka you can find. Don't be going and using your Grey Goose on this. You know, someone will give out to you about that. It doesn't matter. You may have read in books, you know, if you've gotten herbal books along the way or picked them up. A lot of herbal books are written in America for an American herbalist audience, well, for worldwide, but they're mainly in America because that's where the majority of them are. And they will mention stuff like 100 proof alcohol, all this kind of thing. It has to be watered up and down. We don't have access to 100 proof alcohol, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you read that in a book, you know, a tincture making or herb book will talk about it. It's literally, don't be worrying yourself. You literally go down to Tesco's, get the cheapest vodka you can get your hands on, or Aldi or Lidl. They're all kind of much of a muchness now, about 20 euros anyhow. Take out your label, write down your herb. The most important thing that we need here is the date you're making it, and 6 weeks kind of ahead that the date it's ready. Fill it with vodka, stick your label onto it, you know, because these are sticky. Stick your label onto it, stick it up in a shelf somewhere. Don't even think about it. You don't need to shake it daily. You don't need to go near it daily. You don't need to do anything. You just need to remember in about 6 weeks' time when you're passing, and you can look at the date and you can kind of go, oh, that's ready. Now, that does not mean that you have to, on that day that it's ready, panic and like decant it. You can leave it sitting there till this time next year. It's not a problem. It's just more of a, oh, it's ready, I can use it now. If you really wanted to, you could probably use it after 4 weeks if you were like desperate and you were like wanted to use chamomile and you'd used up the pre-made tincture that I have in the boxes, you know, and you really were enjoying using it. It was really helpful. You could start using it within the 4 weeks if you really wanted to. But 6 weeks is just the optimum. You know, that's just the standard. Sorry, just admitting someone in there. That's just the standard. Yeah, so most important is just sticking the vodka straight into it, not worrying about it. We don't use brandy because it's too strong of a taste. And especially with the likes of chamomile, we want the flavoring coming through. With some of the herbs, we want the flavor and the what's the word I'm looking for there? Yeah, just the flavor of it coming through, especially if it's like a peppermint one. We need all those chemical constituents. So that's why we use vodka. So it doesn't overpower it. What else did I want to say in that? Yeah, then when it's ready in your 6 weeks, you can leave it in the jar There's ones I have in the jar here in my apothecary now going on 4 years. So it's not a panic. I haven't drained them off because I don't use them that often, or I only need small amounts. So don't panic if this is something that you don't get around till after Christmas and you're kind of sitting there going, oh shit. Don't worry about it. It will be fine. It's in, remember, and it's in vodka that preserves it, that keeps it. You can then drain it off, like decant the herb out, in a strainer. And then that's where the 100 ml bottles are. You can pour it into that, or you can start playing around with. Now you will have, well, for those who've just started, you'll have chamomile and plantain. And next month's box is rose. So you'll have three. So you could mix the three together in the one bottle and play around with it that way. But it's just another recap of the making the tinctures, and I don't want anyone panicking. You can also make a glycerite. I think that's on the video I made anyhow for the tincture making one, which is available on the blog and the website. And I think I've sent out links to it. If I haven't, I can send them again. But yeah, and that's just making it with no alcohol. A little bit more involved in that, but not a lot more. Right, so let's get started on our beautiful chamomile. Like I said, there's two types. We use the Roman chamomile, which is the Chamomile rectorua. Again, can't say it, not Latin fluent, unfortunately, or fortunately, I suppose. So yeah, that's the one we use. It's the German chamomile. It's the most common one that you will find in shops and health shops and stuff like that. It's a great herb. Some people don't like the taste of it. That's fine. I don't know if anyone grows it fresh. You definitely should. I think I sent you out seeds, didn't I? In the box. Yeah, so definitely try grow it if you can. It grows really well in a pot, so you don't have to worry about putting it down because it can spread a bit, but it's a slow spreading kind of plant, so it won't get out of hand too crazily. And I don't know if anyone currently grows it, but the smell of it, I love the smell of it fresh. There's just nothing like it. It's like this beautiful hit, and the minute I smell it, my shoulders drop, everything drops. It just kind of, it's like a hug. It's just beautiful. The fresh is just amazing. I grow up beside my front door for that purpose of just smelling it. Um, uh, and you can, I mean, you won't grow enough, I think, to harvest a lot off it. I have some of the dried here, just like the ones that you would have gotten the box. I would say like you'd need a good, like probably 5 or 6 plants even to get like this amount. It doesn't produce a lot, but it's a lovely one to grow and try fresh, and you can make a tincture fresh. It's the same idea. If you have it grown and you want to make a tincture out of the fresh and a tincture out of the dried, just to compare them, go for it. You just need to fill, the dried is only ever filled like about 1/3 of the way. The fresh we need to fill about 2/3 of the way, and just making sure you don't shove it in like tightly, just loosely packed. Again, just pouring vodka straight over it. It's that easy. Nothing is hard when it comes to these things, or it shouldn't be anyhow. We only get down the end of it being hard when we're dealing with clients and we have to blend and stuff like this. But at this stage, it's all about just getting out there, getting into your garden, and having some fun with it and finding yeah, so if you grow it, tincture it fresh, it's worth trying. And the same with anything, like with the plantain, if which you should be able to find that. It's everywhere. And I hope people have you've all identified it at this stage or found it out and about. And yeah, I would tincture some of it fresh as well. Give it a try. Why not? And the dried. See, there won't be much of a difference between the plantain, but there'll definitely be a difference between the fresh chamomile and the dried chamomile. Its main things that I suppose I would use chamomile for would be, like I said, more for whingy people, myself included. I can get a bit whingy at times. I use it for digestion base mainly. Any cramping, any bloating, IBS. New mothers that are breastfeeding, it's great for colic, and you can give the mother, especially if she's breastfeeding, like a tea of like chamomile, nettles for nourishment and getting the milk flowing. The chamomile is going to be really helpful for her digestive system and for the baby, and it's going to help like with colic. And then nettle dandelion, or nettle, chamomile and fennel are the three that I would definitely include in a blend if I was given to a nursing mother, or if you have any sort of gastric issues, it's worth trying. It'll be hit and miss with some of these things if you're dealing with certain, like it's hard to say one size fits all. That's not what we're after here. We're not looking at a medical, pharmaceutical style of medication where it's just one and everyone gets it. So saying chamomile is great for reflux and stuff like that, it could be great for one and not too great for another. So it's about trying it, but it's worth it. It's definitely one that I love to use and love to try with people. It's anti-inflammatory, so it's great for any sort of inflammation again, which a lot of our stuff start with inflammation, anything that's going on. Sorry, I have something in my throat now. Talking too much all day. It's a nervine. Like I said, when I how I use it mainly, well, fresh. Not one of the ways I use it is fresh in a pot beside my front door as a nervine. And so what I mean for that is a nervous system herb. So when I'm high anxiety or and it's not even high anxiety, it's just literally coming in the front door after being out and about. And no matter where we are and no matter how calm we are leaving in the morning, coming home, it's a different story because it may have been, especially in weather like this, and the nights are getting darker and someone's cut you off in traffic, and it's coming up to Christmas, so it's crazy season trying to find park and all this sort of malarkey going on when you're out. And then you come in the door. And so instead of coming in the door high 90 and like, dropping my bags here and saying to my husband, oh my God, blah, 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 like I just stop and I rub the chamomile, which is still out in this season. Like you'll still get the leaves and stuff like that. And there's still a bit of flower out. And just having a squeeze of it, literally squeezing it, smell in my hand, I come into the house and I'm still like giving out, but it's more of a tone of, geez, you'll never guess what. There was no bloody parking down there, and your one cut me off down the road. And it's that difference. And that's what it's doing in my nervous system. So taking it internally is even better again, because you can take the tincture of it, if you have access to it, which you all do now. Daily, if you know that that's your MO, if that's how you go about the world, where your nervous system gets a bit like, agitated. No, I mean, we're, like I said, we're coming into silly season now with people in shops and stuff like that. And all the best tension in the world to go in all calm and stuff. Even I'm standing there going, so having chamomile maybe in the handbag and dropping a few drops of it. And the tincture, we need the strong stuff. The essence will work as well, but we need the strong tincture. It's going to be really good for the nervous system. And like I said, really good for people who are coming out of long illnesses, for their nervous system that have been frayed, anything to do with sort of anxiety. It's one of the ones I would probably, lemon balm would come slightly above it for the nervous system, but then it would be chamomile. And the only reason I wouldn't give chamomile to someone is that they wouldn't like the taste. And that would be my top two nervines of common weeds. There's loads out there of different ones, but the common ones that we'll be talking about is lemon balm and chamomile would be my top two if anyone suffers from anxiety, stress, anything like that. And then I would also be always coming in with nettles because it's nourishing. It's going to nourish the nervous system to help it. I like to say, like, our nervous system is fried with everything. And chamomile kind of goes in, and it's like, when you're rubbing down the cat or the dog, and it's just that, it just, so the chamomile is just going in and rubbing down your nervous system and kind of being like, shh, it will be okay. Don't worry, and kind of bringing us back down to a place where we can catch a breath and kind of go, okay, and step into it then. It is what it's classed as a sedative in the sedative family. So there's different layers of sedatives, and so it's important to remember that it's not something that you'll take and like fall asleep. It's not a narcotic sedative pain, like a pharmaceutical one. And it's not a high-end sedative. If we're looking for something to knock you out, we have definitely better ones than chamomile. But what we're looking to do, again, it's going in, it's relaxing that nervous system. So using chamomile in the family of sedatives, where I would be recommending that is like that you're taking it an hour or two before going to bed if you're having trouble sleeping. If it's long-term trouble sleeping, we're looking at a whole different set of herbs, but this is just general, I'm stressed, I off, like you're off for a couple of days and you haven't slept, or you're just worried about shit and you can't get a sleep, but it's not been going on for ages. Having it before, like an hour or two before you go to bed, allows your whole system just to do that whole relaxing thing. And even in a tea, if you drink tea and you like the taste of chamomile, I would be saying get a herbal like chamomile tea into you at that stage of night, like about 2 hours before. If you don't like the tea, just take the tincture. So yeah, so it's when things say like sedatives, when it comes to herbal sedatives, there's very few not common ones anyhow. A common one that would knock you out a bit more that grows here in Ireland quite well. It's a weed as well, is wild lettuce. If anyone wants to look that up, you can. And you could tincture some of that. That's more of a one that's going to give you a sort of, it's not going to, again, it's not pharmaceutical. It's not going to knock you out, make you drowsy, but it will just kind of start shutting down that system a lot quicker to help you sleep. Sleep is a whole big thing. I should just do a separate class on it because it's quite common that people have sleep issues, and they'll come to me and they'll be like, what herb can you give me? And then I have to go through a series of questions of what kind of sleep is happening, because it's not one size fit all. It's not the same. It's not, some people can get a sleep, wake up, some people can't, so there's a whole load of levels. So we might think about doing a short class on that where I can explain a bit more and talk about a few more herbs that we can use. But back to chamomile. It is, it would be in the immune system herbs, immune system, like immune stimulating herbs. Again, because it's a digestive herb, it works so well for our digestive system. And I'm saying this, but like I said, there's going to be maybe one or two where it doesn't work as well, but let's just throw it out there and say it works very well for most digestive systems. And so anything that works well with our digestive system or our liver is going to be is going to help the immune system, because that's, we're helping it all process it. So it's going to help stimulate the immune system. And that's what chamomile does, to a lesser effect than other herbs, but it's definitely in there. It is a bitter herb. I don't know if any of you drink chamomile tea on its own, like, just tea bags from the shop, which is perfectly fine. Like this is the chamomile that like I get, but I also get this one here, which is the very same chamomile, but you can see it's like, it's just been cut finer for tea bags. And that's all it is. It's the same plant. They're both organic. They're both from my supplier, but like one I've ordered because it's cut finer and I can use it more in smaller tea bags and stuff like that. So this is kind of the ones that you would be buying in the shop, in the Tesco's and stuff, and probably a little bit finer again than this. But that's the difference, because obviously they can't put those big chunky ones in the tea bags. They'll take up too much room and they'll have to charge you a lot more. So they cut it up really fine. So having a tea bag of chamomile at nighttime is really handy. Like, because sometimes I know making a whole loose tea can be a pain in the ass, So absolutely, if all you can get is the tea bags in Tesco's, I've used them myself over the years. I think they're lovely. I do like the Puka brand of chamomiles, excuse me. I think they use the two together in the tea bag. If you like a bitter herb, or you need more help with your digestive system, with like if you suffer from bloating or indigestion, anything like that, you need bitter herbs. Chamomile can be a great one, but you need to leave the tea bag in or leave it soaking for longer. The longer you leave the chamomile soaking in boiling water, hot water, whatever, it becomes more bitter. It releases more of its bitter components. I like that bitter taste. Some people don't. So if I was having, like, I would leave the tea bag in my mug like till I drank down to the end of it. And by the time I get halfway down, it's starting to get more bitter, more bitter, and more bitter. But I like that taste, and that does my digestive system well. If you don't, you can just leave it in for, your tea bag for 3 or 4 minutes, whatever, and take it out. You can also throw in a peppermint tea bag into the same cup to balance it out. The more herbs you throw into the blend, the more that it will reduce that bitter taste. But it's just if you're having chamomile on its own. Using chamomile tea bags, I've used them before for tired eyes and for eye infections. Literally, I've used the dried stuff as well. I've made a strong tea out of it. I put a cloth in it, piece of muslin cloth, and just soaked it and put it on my eye. I put a little bit of chamomile, a little bit of calendula. And what else did I put in? It was chamomile, calendula. Oh, and I put in some chickweed once into a cloth, let it sit in the water and boiling water, and then use that as a compress on my eye. I tend to have a lot. If something's going to go wrong with me, it's going to be my eyes. Tends to be I was actually only down in Waterford Hospital today at an appointment, follow-up appointment for my eyes. So yeah, thankfully nothing's wrong. But if that's where it's going to go, it's going to go. So I know all the eye herbs. So any eye issues, let me know. I can help you out. Topically, you've probably all heard of like chamomile lotion. You know, when you were kids or something, you know, for chickenpox, and everyone's walking around with the little white spots on them. You know, it was a well-known cure. And we can just use your chamomile oil. You can make oil out of your dried herbs that you got in your box. You can use the folk method for that. It's probably the easiest, just in a jar, oil over it, leaving it sitting. And you have yourself some chamomile oil. It can be used, very helpful for cradle cap, along with nettle and chamomile oil. But if all you have is chamomile, the cream or the balm that's in the box, like eczema, psoriasis, that cradle cap as well. Any kind of cuts or bruises, it's antiseptic, it's anti-inflammatory. So any bumps, my husband got a thing in the face there yesterday. He works, he's a builder, and he pulled the thing off a wall and got hit the side of his head. And he happened to be at home, and I gave him just some chamomile to rub it on. And what it did is it's just, and it was literally because the chamomile was just there. And normally I would have gone for something like probably the Banjax balm or plantain, but it was just first thing I grabbed. And sometimes I'm just doing it to experiment on him, if I'm being honest, just using him as my guinea pig to see how quick these things heal. And it went down. It went, like, the swelling, and it went down within, like, you know, about 40 minutes or so. So really good for that. But where I would use it is more acne, scars, skin, anything that's kind of flaky, skinny, that needs kind of moisturizing. And you know, you could mix a scoop of your calendula balm and a scoop of your chamomile balm into another jar, mix them around, and you're going to have an amazing skin healing balm if you have any psoriasis, eczema, dry, cracked heels and stuff like that. And we've all abandoned our feet now that it's time for sock and boot weather again. But it's important to kind of, if we're getting ready to, maybe, well, maybe not, maybe some of us are heading off to some sunny spots and we need to release their feet again. So, you know, putting a bit of chamomile balm onto them, or your calendula balm, can be super helpful. If any of you are into essential oils, or, you know, have studied aromatherapy, having the chamomile balm and adding a drop or two of a eucalyptus or a peppermint or something like that to the base of people, like your feet, or to your chest as a chest rub, as, like, you know, your homemade Vicks, can be super helpful. Obviously, when we're working with essential oils, be super careful, and less is more. We don't want any to use too much. What else can we say about, yeah, the essential oil? Obviously you can buy as well. It's a little bit more expensive, and it normally is blue, which is really pretty, but it is expensive for, like, and I mean, like, you know, 20 or 30 euros for a bottle, a 10 ml bottle, which doesn't sound expensive, but it is, compared to like a lavender or peppermint that will be 4 or 5 euros, you know. Let me have a quick look down now. And what else have I got written here? Oh yeah, good digestive remedy for nausea and sickness, travel sickness, um, morning sickness. I tend to go chamomile or ginger. Try them both. If it's morning sickness, see which one helps. More than likely, be one over the other will be a little bit more helpful. Could be both, so you could mix both, or you could just swap between both. Good for travel sickness with kids. Oh, I did have a friend herbalist once. Well, he still is a friend, and he still is a herbalist. I remember talking to him. He had kids, young kids at the time, and what he was doing is making a chamomile tea and putting them in, letting it cool down, and putting it in ice cube trays and freezing it, and then putting the ice cube tray into the kids. I can't remember how old his kids were at the time. They were still on a bottle, but it wasn't a milk bottle. But he did add it to some milk bottles. But it was definitely, one of the kids was just drinking water out of a bottle still at night time or something like that. And he would pop the ice cube in and let it melt over the time. And it was just there to help the digestive system for the kid, but it was also help to just calm them down and keep them. So if any of you have young kids and stuff, maybe that's a way to go. Or yourself, you can just make ice cubes and pop them in to your gin or tonics or your cocktails. Who knows? Give it a go. Oh, it relieves, yeah, for sore nipples, or around the breastfeeding, or when my sister had breast cancer, and so we gave her like oils constantly. Well, her tree that she cycled through, her balms and oils for rubbing on her whole breast area and up into her lymph nodes, underarm and stuff, was a combination either of red clover, chamomile, and calendula, either the three together or one. She cycled through them all consistently for about 8 months there, and it really helped. And she, even when she was going through radiation, just having the chamomile or the calendula for the burn was super helpful. So if you know of anyone doing that, you can help them out that way. And hopefully you don't know anyone going through that, because it's not good or nice. What else are we looking at? Oh, and steams. Yeah, like if you're respiratory issues, good old-fashioned steams, they seem to have gone out of fashion. Let's bring back the old bowl with the towel over and get that going again. It's one of the best ways to do it. I know during COVID, I would have done it a lot with thyme, fresh thyme. So if you grow thyme or rosemary, or you know what, you don't even have to grow them. If you buy them in the supermarket in Tesco's and you happen to have them, especially, you know, the spice rack or whatever you have, a bit of a chamomile, like you don't need to, like this again, shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't, like, you know, you can do the, get your bowl, get your spice rack. I would add in like your rosemary, your thyme. If you happen to have your dried chamomile, the fancy one I've sent you, let's call it the fancy one, that's great. If you don't, and all you happen to have is a chamomile tea bag from Aldi, that's fine. Just throw it in the bowl. Like, you know, don't make it hard. We just need to get to use them. Did someone put up their hand there? Did I just see a hand flashing up? No? Yes. I wasn't minding. I was off in my thoughts. So if someone did, just unmute and shout. Yeah, so bring back the steam bowl, I say, and don't, if you grow these things, great. If you don't grow them, use what you have in your kitchen. I had Barbara, another herbalist friend of mine, she has just made a chili tincture the other day to try take now over the winter to warm up her hands and feet. And she's just using kitchen powdered chili just to see. So she's experimenting with that. So that's what the fun of it is about. So you don't have to, you know, go crazy. I'll let you know how she gets on. I told her to test it first before I'm going there. So we'll see. But you could also make, I know another friend of mine made a chili balm and used that for chilblains and especially dried, cracked hands over the winter and stuff like that. And she found it great. You just don't want to put it in your eye afterwards. And what else have we got here? I've got loads of notes on this. Externally, like I said, yeah, great for any ulcers, burns, varicose veins. I would use, the best thing for varicose veins, I may have mentioned this before, I don't know, is a horse chestnut leaf. One of the best things for varicose veins in an oil or a balm. Yeah, there's no known real contraindications to it unless you're allergic to the family it comes from, which is the daisy family. So you'll have known if you're allergic to daisies, if you've ever picked a daisy and got a rash or anything. If you've never had that and you have touched daisies, you're pretty much safe with chamomile. It doesn't cause a lot of issues other than that. Yeah, I wouldn't, like, the essential oil is different. Obviously, it's stronger, it's more powerful, it's more potent. We wouldn't be putting that directly onto the skin. So that could cause dermatitis or contact dermatitis or something like that. But in general, the herb itself is going to be pretty safe to use. I had some recipes here. Does anyone have any questions before I look for those recipes? So you're after getting chamomile and you're after getting plantain. So putting the two of them together would be like, if you were, I'm just trying to think now of the tinctures, you would use the two of them together for any skin or digestive issues. That's where you'd be putting them to just for now, if you had anything. Yeah, sorry, Anya. Yeah, go ahead.
Just gonna ask you, where do we stand with children and what we can or can't give them? Just in terms of the tincture, because I know it's vodka, but I presume we can make it with the glycerite, and is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, when are they your children or just random children?
I don't know.
We might have an issue with just random children giving them, but for your children, yeah, go for it. Do what you want. Yeah, look, I give tinctures to kids of like the age of 2 upwards. Like I give them the alcohol tinctures because you're only
Oh,
you're where you would take a full dropper dose, like a full one of these, you're literally going to be taking like 2 to 3 drops of the, some people put them in boiling water and boil off a little bit more of the alcohol. But that would be me personally, and I would have no issue with it, but it's each to their own, and each mother's and father, whoever is going to make that decision. But yeah, no, glycerite is probably your safest way to go. And stuff like chamomile, anything that's aromatic, like a peppermint, chamomile, hibiscus, all those kind of ones are really take really well in glycerite.
okay.
So they do really well, and you can pick up glycerite in the chemist. They have, is it that B? I don't think I have it there. BP brand. Ugh. No, it's out in the kitchen. Yeah, there's a brand, I think it's like BP or something. Anyway, going to the chemist, if they don't have it, they can order it in for you. Everyone has it, you know what I mean? And it's just a matter of filling the jar, 60, I think it's gonna go off the top of my head now. It's either 60 or 80%. I do have notes and I can look it up, of glycerite, and then the rest is with water. And the reason is it just pulls out another constituent, and then you do need to shake that one because it needs to, the glycerite and water need to blend together. That was going to take about 6 weeks as well. So a handy way to speed up the process of that is by getting your jar, putting the lid on it, and putting it into a pot of simmering water, like, just up as far as here, and kind of heating it at a low temperature. So I think people have used, what are they called? Slow cooker, over an hour or two, and just letting it, and it will just extract all the constituents a little bit quicker if it's something that you need ASAP. And then go hell for leather with the kids.
Same with the teas and stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
okay, because they're kind of getting into that.
Yeah, brilliant.
Drinking the end of my tea, but I just want to be sure that they're 5 and 7. They're not like little, but just to be sure that I'm okay to give it to them.
Absolutely. I mean, I have, like I said, a client there during the week who was getting stuff for herself and for her granddaughter, actually, who's wired. She said she's calm all day and then coming to bedtime. And it's like, it's more than the normal. Like, I just don't want to go to bed. It's like, whoo, hitting the roof. So we gave a poppy, red poppy and chamomile glycerite that she'll be taking. And she'll drink a bit of tea, she said, first. So she's giving her, like you, the ends of the kind of tea. But yeah, absolutely, I would work away. And if they'll take it, there's no contraindications or anything for them, like, yeah.
Thank you.
And you're getting them started early, which is great. Getting them involved early. And a lot of what we're doing here about is trying to make the stuff now so that when we need it, we have it. So it's thinking, I always say to people, because I one of my questions I always get asked, in classes and stuff is, what herbs should I grow? And I'm like, well, I don't know your family, because it's so, while there's all these weeds that we can use, there's also obviously going to be a couple of herbs that your family will go through a lot more than my family will, because your family could be more susceptible to hay fever, to digestive issues, to like, you could have like a little girl who's mad into BMXs and keeps falling off her bikes and breaking bones and breaking, like, so you kind of have to think about what's happening in your life, in your family unit, and then go out from that, but having like the likes of your plantain balm, for especially for young kids, that and your chamomile balm on hand, and just using them for every cut, bruise and scrape is going to be like very helpful, like, in your apothecary. Let me see what are, well, we're loads of time. Let's just have here as well, actually, while we're talking about kids, it's especially helpful for easing the pain of teething as well as colic and stuff like that. But I mean, if you're teething, God love you if you're going through that with kids. You can add it into a bath for kids or anyone who has eczema or psoriasis. That I would say put it in a little muslin cloth and add it into the bath, into that, and use it as a little rub. Can be really helpful again, or you can just use the balm afterwards. Tea for applied as a hair rinse for blonde hair. If we've dark hair, we go with nettles or horsetail. If we've light hair, we go with chamomile. They're the kind of top ones that we use. What else? I had some recipes here just to give, because time is running out. Tea for acne. Chamomile, oat straw, lemon balm is really good for that. Oat straw is it's the flour and tops of the oats that we get, but you could just use your normal porridge oats there. It would make a nice tea for acne, just small amount of oats in it, because obviously they get a bit gooey. And chamomile and lemon balm if you're growing it. A nerve formula for depression I have here. Now, again, depression is along my lines of sleep. There's so many different levels and so many different types of depression. So when I say depression here, I just mean a general sort of, I'm caught in a funk, not a, oh my God, I can't move and the world is closing in on me. That's a whole different thing. This is just a, another day here and in work or whatever. For that, I would do chamomile, borage. If anyone grows borage, it grows really well here. It grows like, so well, and it's a common like weed. It's a plant, but most people see it as a weed because it grows load. And this is in tincture form, by the way. Chamomile, borage, lemon balm, lavender, and rose. So lavender makes a great tincture. And so if you grow lavender next season when it's out in flower, grab some and tincture it. Again, just a jar, third of it the way, or 2/3, if it's fresh, 2/3 the way up. Your vodka over it. It goes the most beautiful purple color for about a day, and then it's a shitty brown color. So you lose that color, but you have all the property. Again, it's a high anxiety herb. It's along the lines of our lemon balm and stuff like that. And rose you'll be getting as next month's box anyhow, so you'll have that tincture. But it's just, if you didn't have borage and all you had was chamomile and lavender and rose, or chamomile and rose, it's just that's a formula I've used before, so you can pick and choose from it. Oh, and a bath blend, yeah, for I think it was a little kid with eczema. I gave them, and this was just like dried, like the teas, chamomile, lavender, rose, and comfrey I put in there, and then they just made little sachets out of it. And I actually even think the mother just put it in an old pillowcase. They don't think she had any muslin cloth and just used it in the bath. So when yourself, when you need to do something, you'll just get on with it and do it. And like I said, cradle cap, dried nettles, and chamomile. But I just have down here dried in an oil. Sorry, so that's an oil. So if we're making an oil, everything needs to be dried. So nettles and chamomile together. Where are we now? God, 40 minutes. It's time flies. Well, I'm on this about 40. Yeah, 40 minutes. Grand. What do I want to finish up with? There was something else I wanted to mention there. I don't have it written down. Tincture. No. Yeah. So like I said, don't wait for something to go wrong before using chamomile. I would try it. We're all living in a world that's high anxiety at the moment, high levels of stress, high levels of everything. We're on our phone, we're doing all the things. And just even today, after being in the hospital for a couple of hours, I'm like, oh my God, like, it's the sitting waiting. And I was just looking around. I think myself and my husband brought a book, and I because I had to get eye drops in, so I couldn't drive back, so I had to bring him. And I was just people watching, and we were the only two, and everyone else was on their phones. And this is like even like 60, 78-year-old women on their phone. And I was just like looking around going, oh my God, it's no wonder we're all just so fried. And this lovely old man came in and sat down beside me. He wasn't, anyway, I got chatting to him. He's a stonemason. He's retired. Great stories. My husband was laughing at me, but I was just like, this is what we're missing. And, I try to make it an intention of mine, and going to places like that I will make eye contact with someone, that I will like, because it will be a horrible experience for me if I don't. I walked out of there feeling like ugh, because it's a hospital, and you just always feel ugh. But I didn't walk out feeling like, oh my God, that was the worst trip ever. Where my anxiety started to get bad is because when we were driving home, the rain was pissing down on the motorway. You fucking idiots driving arseways, and I'm like doing this sort of thing. And so I'm going to have a lovely cup of chamomile now after this. I had my tea there, and I'm going to have chamomile, and it's just using it like that on a daily basis. So it's not that I'm like need any digestive help. I don't need anything, but I'm using it. So use them. Like, don't wait for something to go wrong. Try them all. See how they affect you. See, like, working with herbs is all about trying it out and noticing, and not just waiting for a bad day of bloating and going for it. Then that's great to know. That's great to know you have it there, but try get them into your daily life, like your tea and and stuff like that. Does anyone have any questions? I can answer live questions. I can answer no, I'm joking. financial questions. I can do anything. No, I can't. I can only answer questions about weeds. Yeah. Did everyone actually, I forgot to ask because I forgot to send a tester email to myself. Did everyone get the reminder email? Because I just said that. Perfect. Yeah, because I just meant to set it up last month. I didn't. I'm getting slowly coming there. It's all coming together. Yeah, so that's it. So I was busy. Your rose box is ready. It'll be going out now in another 2 weeks. The weeks just fly by. But hope you're getting used to using plantain. And actually, I was on my agenda for the weekend is to make the nettle balm for the January box already. So yeah, just getting myself pre-prepared is all. So I'm well ahead of the game here. So loads of good stuff for you to come. If we have no questions, we'll sign off there, but I'm open to questions if anyone wants to hang on and didn't want to ask their questions, or if you have a question afterwards, you just didn't want to bring it up, just email me across and I will get it sorted out. But for now, go enjoy the rest of the evening and your weekend, and I hope you have a lovely time. And yeah, goodbye from me and the plants. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
I'll send out the recording tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.